Welcome to your Chordal lesson of the week with monochrome seasons. This week I want to talk about the usage of a drone effect on top of your chord progressions. If you don't know what a drone is, you can click on the I, and I have made a video last week explaining how to create the drone effect for ambient guitar. The challenge when making ambient guitar arrangements is to have interesting chord progressions, but dealing with the limitations of our reverbs and delays, because they are so long that they will overlap on the next chord, and if we have too much extensions or jazzier voicings, it might end up creating some wrong notes onto the next chord. An easy solution to that is to shorten our delays and reverbs, but we don't want that in ambient guitar. And it's even worse with drones because they are so slow, and with the 100% wet and pre-delay, it's really hard to change notes timely on your chord progressions with your drones. That's why I want my drones to be as static as possible when I add it underneath my chord progressions and my loops. To show you how I approach it, I will use the chord progression from my title track of my album Space Culture, and I will show you in detail my thought process. So basically, if we simplify the progression, it's a C major, A flat major, F major, and C sharp major 7. The first thing that I'm looking for to create a static drone underneath my chord progression is to find a common note that is shared with all of the chords in the progression. In the case of our progression, we have the C note that is inside every chord of the progression. It's the root on the C major, it's the third on the A flat major, it's the fifth on the F major, and it's the 7th on the C sharp major 7. So if it's possible, if you have a common note on all of your chords, you can simply pick that note, make a drone out of it, and just play your chord progression on top. So if it's possible, having a common note just works every time. But you have to be careful that the note is really shared on all of the notes. So if you pick the wrong note, let's say on my C major, instead of picking the C, I pick the E, it's going to create wrong notes onto the next chords. So the next chord was A flat, so you ended up having a sharp fifth that is not in the chord, and it gets out of place. But if ever you pick a drone note that is not shared on all of your chords, but that could create interesting extensions to your chord, that could work. So in that case, if I picked a G drone, that is the 5th of my C major, that could create some interesting extensions on my chord. So that would be the 5th on my C. That would be a 7th on my A flat. That would be a 9th on my F. and that would be a sharp 11th on my C sharp. So that's usually how I would approach it. If I pick a drone that creates extensions, I'm going to modify my chords so that they follow those extensions and that the drone doesn't sound out of place. So you see, I haven't played a C, A flat, F, and C sharp 7th. I have modified my chord to follow it. So I kept my C, but then I added a A flat major 7th, a F sus2, so I still have my G inside of it, and then I played a C sharp major 7th, sharp 11th. So I still have my G note inside of it. So it gets a little bit technical, but to sum up my point, the first thing that you should target when making a static drone under your chord progression is to find a common note shared with all of your chords, and if it creates some extensions, you can modify your chords to follow the extensions and make more interesting chord progressions. That's it for this lesson. I hope it will help you in your ambient guitar creation quest. As always, visit my online guitar school for more lessons. Subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and leave your comments down below. Until next time, au revoir!